morning, my fellow Shannondellians.
Good morning.
And we have a special program. We have Stan Isenberg. Everybody knows Stan? Who doesn't know Stan? Get out.
If I could stand, I would.
So he's going to talk about Jewish superstitions. When he told me that's what he wanted to do, I said, what Jewish superstitions? So I went online. I can't believe how many screens I got of examples of Jewish superstitions. So we're going to let him talk about that for a while. He may sprinkle some jokes in between. We'll see. I've never known him not to. Anyway, this is Stan. Stan, you're on.
We gather here today, a modern, educated, intelligent, sophisticated group of people. We're curious about superstitions, but for the most part, we don't believe in them. Or do we? Just a little? When a person sneezes, do we say, God bless you? Or Gesundheit, meaning good health? But why do we say that? You may profess to be a non-believer, but when this program is over, you may regret putting your purse on the floor, or not having salt in your pockets, or not wearing a metal pin. Or will some of you be left with the sense you just shared an interesting time reviewing a bunch of Bubbeminces, old wives' tales, but keep in mind that we are a people of many traditions. Our culture contains a rich array of folk beliefs and practices that have been passed down through the generations. Let me now review some of the most common Jewish superstitions, which in many cases are shared by non-Jews, or in some cases come from them. Spitting 3 times, what a terrible habit. If you just heard bad news, you spit 3 times to ward off the evil eye attracted by the bad news. If it's good news, you do the same thing so the evil eye doesn't spoil things. Over time, we've come to say poo, poo, poo instead of spitting. But why spit in the first place? It's supposed to have magic powers. A belief is illustrated in Christianity by Jesus' use of spittle to make a blind man see and a lame man walk. Chewing on thread. As a little boy, I remember when my grandmother went to sew something on me, she gave me a piece of thread to chew. I asked her why. Primarily because when a loved one dies, the immediate family has their lapel or some piece of clothing cut. Maybe they're wearing a black ribbon, but that's cut too to symbolize their loss. Obviously, the comparison between this custom and having something cut by a seamstress while you are wearing it has to be dealt with. Please do not ask me how chewing a piece of thread does the job. But who's going to argue with such a belief besides the thread didn't taste so bad that Granny gave me and I'm still here? Pulling one's ear when sneezing. This superstition has led to heated arguments. Do you pull or do you tug? Only Jews would argue over such a thing. Here's my experience. According to my very suspicious mother, If someone sneezed while a group were discussing death, you pulled your ear up, because when you're discussing death, the Malchamuvis, the angel of death, is there. And if you sneeze, he says, I missed him. He takes your ankle to pull you to the other land. But if you pull your ear up, you're stronger than he is. That business of pulling up your ear has been extended to all sneezes and is usually accompanied by the Yiddish phrase, zu lange soll man dicker Jahren, meaning to long, lucky years. That's years, not years. One we all share. Don't walk under an open ladder. What in the world would that be? In ancient Egypt, it was believed a perfect triangle was a sacred thing. That explains the shape of the pyramids. The Egyptians would have us believe that when we walk under an open ladder, we have broken a perfect triangle. And that will bring us bad times. How many of you would walk under an open ladder? No Egyptian ancestors here. Okay. Here's a shorty. And actually, a lady friend of ours said this happened. I don't know if it's still being done. To avert the evil eye, a mother slaps her daughter at the time of her first period. You're nodding. Okay, here's a really popular one. Why do we knock on wood? And everybody does. It's a non-Jewish custom and may connect to Christian beliefs that relate wood to slivers of the cross, believed to bring good luck. But knocking on wood was done many ages before Jesus. Some ancient cultures regarded trees as gods, and believers were convinced that touching or knocking wood would produce magical results. Two other things I remember from my days of youth. Joey, remember how you were sitting when I passed you? If you step over a young child lying on the floor, or if their feet are raised and step over their feet, they won't grow. Unless you step back, and then they're fine. It's a mishigas, it's another one.
Now you know why I like problems.
Then there was the time my grandmother took me to visit a relative of hers, ancient, elderly, Orthodox people. I was 8 or 9. I was bored and a little scared. And so, to make myself feel better, I whistled. You are not permitted to whistle in an Orthodox home. It'll bring bad luck. In and take your money out. Well, alrighty. In Lithuania, it is forbidden to whistle indoors because the noise is thought to summon demons. If I left the house, according to my mother, quickly and returned, she said, sit down and count 10. What? She said, life has a pattern. And when you leave, you're on a timetable. If you come back, you broke that timetable. And you'll have source. So sit down and count 10 and you will be back on time. Okay. Never leave your purse on the floor. It'll bring bad luck, like missing your purse. Uh-oh. A single girl should never sit at the corner of the table, or she will not be married for 7 years. Somebody just said that's true. In many cultures, a horseshoe is considered an incredibly lucky symbol. If you find one with the open end pointing toward you, you are supposed to have a really great day. Of course, that was not true of the horse that had it. This is a biggie. Everybody believes this. Black cats bring bad luck. Why? Poor little things, they meow like other cats. They were considered to be witches in the Middle Ages. People thought their cats could turn their owners into demons. But I'll tell you this, you're guaranteed not to have good luck if you swerve to miss a black cat. How about this superstition about salt, which I mentioned earlier? There are two explanations. Both, of course, having to do with the ability of this product to keep bad vibes at bay. You are supposed to put salt into the corners of an empty room or in the pockets of new clothing. Goblins and elves reportedly look for crevices to hide in, but salt makes these hideouts less inviting. Of course, we always have a Yiddish expression to fall back on, Kein Herr, which means, we usually say Kinahara, right? You know what it means? Anybody know what it means? It means stop the evil eye. You don't believe in superstitions, but you say Kinahara all the time. I earlier mentioned wearing a metal pin. Metal was developed by an advanced civilization, so it protects against less sophisticated evil spirits. Isn't that convenient? All right, let's mention some quickie Jewish Baba Mices. Grandmother's tales. It's good luck if it rains or snows on a wedding day. You're nodding. And you don't believe in these things, right? If a new bride cracks an egg with a double yolk, she sure better eat it, because she'll be blessed with many children. Yeah. You place a prayer book under the mattress of an infant to keep it from harm. Here's one that genders heated discussions. Jewish people are not supposed to name newborns after living people. Why? Why? 2 reasons. First of all, by naming a child after someone departed, you keep that name alive. And second of all, the departed after whom the baby is named will be that baby's representative in the land beyond. We still get Ginsburg the second, Cohen the third, but it doesn't really make any sense to adhere to these age-old superstitions. A scientist would likely scoff at them. But why not follow tradition? Just to play it safe. Even the Sefer Hasdim, the book of the pious, offers this sage advice. One should not believe in superstitions, but it's best to be heedful of them. Like chicken soup, it doesn't help a cold, but it won't hurt. Your turn. What have I missed?
Who came up with 3 sneezes keeps away the dybbuk?
What?
It's tradition. It's the only answer. None of these are traced to an individual.
You should please repeat what was said, because most people couldn't hear it.
The last question, the last
comment that was made.
What did he say?
He said, who came up with it? And I,
What came up with what?
Red thread.
yeah, well, tell him about Red Fred. Tell him.
The red thread wards off all evil spirits. So, for example, when you have a new baby in the family, you put the red thread on the crib, or on the doorknob. Or when you're getting married, the bride puts a red thread on her undergarment. It wards off all evil spirits.
You did a red ribbon.
1 second. On that, 3 of the famous, excuse the expression, shiksa singers today, Madonna and 2 others, all wear red wrist wrappings. And they have all read about Judaism. And that's where they got it from.
The Chinese believe that red is a good luck color, so it's almost universal when you think about it.
And lots of these things are universal.
You have to go out the same door you came in.
Yes.
I have a couple of them, if you want to hear. You can't swing your leg in halves. In other words, if you cross your leg and you swing it, you can't do that, that's bad luck.
You repeat what she said, you can't hear now.
Yeah,
Yes, she said you can't cross your legs
And swing it.
and swing it because that brings bad luck. Apparently it attracts the evil eye, as well as a few guys. And what else?
You have to go out the same door you came in.
You have to go out the same door you came in.
And I heard that from an Irish lady as well. She said, oh my goodness, you came in this door. You can't go out the back door. You must go out the door you came in.
And you know, when it comes to superstitions, people who believe in them get pretty upset if you reject it.
If you reject
Because you
what?
are really tempting fate, don't we?
The explanation you mentioned for why Jews in general don't name their children after living relatives is different from the explanation I heard, which was the Malach HaMovis, the angel of death, might come looking for an old person and mistake the baby because it has the same name as the living person. On the other hand, German Jews do name children after living relatives, and that my family is full of people who are named after living relatives. Very nice.
Just quickly, in a minute, Goey, there, in terms of names, there are stories in history of people who changed their names so that the evil eye couldn't find them.
Supposedly, among some.
Stand up, please, because your voice is carrying, but okay.
Okay, supposedly among some Jewish groups, if a man marries a woman who has the same name as his mother, it's bad luck. My observation has been that was not so. One of my best aunts had the same name as my grandmother.
I couldn't find a girl named Tilly. But, guess what? That was my mother's name, Tilly, and I married Nat Tilly. It only lasted 62 years.
My mother used to give me...
Up, please.
Oh, my mother used to give me the heel of the right leg so that I should make boy babies when I got married. Nobody else ever heard of this? So I should make boy babies.
You ready?
I was 8 years old. What did I know about making babies?
If somebody,
Got up and turned around.
if somebody sneezes 3 times, not once or 4, but 3 times, you have to give them a Jewish blessing. The Laban, zum Wachsen, zum Seine Shena Neidele, or if it's a man who sneezes, Shena Boychik. Because they have changed their way of breathing. If you sneeze 3 times, you've thrown your breathing off kilter. And by doing it 3 times, it puts it right back where it should be. Right.
A single woman who's with a group of people sharing some food and all, if there's pieces of it, should not eat the last piece, because then she will remain an old maid.
If salt is spilled, you have to throw some over your shoulder. Never understood why.
Because salt is so powerful. If there is a demon behind you, it'll go.
Don't walk around in stocking feet.
Oh.
You know why?
Yes, because you're sitting Shiva.
When somebody dies, those of you who don't know this, you sit Shiva for a week. And you do not wear shoes or anything with leather. You wear socks. And that's why my mother screamed at me if I walked around the house with just socks.
Also,
Why do you cover mirrors? Why do you cover mirrors in a Shiva house?
So you shouldn't see people's
Do you know the answer to that? Why do you
Yeah,
cover
you have the answer.
I don't have the
You wrote
answer.
the paper you
Not-
told me. At
That
the
was a lot of
University
years
of
ago.
Pennsylvania, she wrote a paper on Jewish superstitions. Great length. Submitted it for a grade, never got it back. Thinks her professor published it. So
Well, I
why?
got all my superstitions from people that I visited, all my great aunt's friends. That's the only way I got. And some of what you said were in the paper, but not all of it. But why do you cover mirrors in a
Well,
Shiva house?
as I recall, the reason is
Yes,
that in a Shiva house, the evil is there.
yes. And you have to
And if you cover
hide
the
it.
mirror.
Right,
No.
you have to hide it.
Rabbi?
The belief is that, I want to make a few comments. The answer to that one is, the belief is that the Malach HaMavet is still around the house, and that if you look into the mirror.
See,
The Malach HaMavet will look back at you.
right.
And therefore, you are in trouble. And therefore, you cover the mirror. That's number one. Two, there are many, but the superstitions that you are talking about are almost exclusively Eastern European.
Yes.
The Western European Jews and the Sephardic Jews did not have all these superstitions. They're totally different. They were living in two different cultures and different worlds, and these superstitions were mostly Eastern European because of the cultures in which they were living.
Can you tell us some of the Sephardic superstitions?
You can eat rice on page.
I don't know. I don't know this. I don't know that.
But you know they're different.
Well, they don't. They probably don't have most of these. They simply don't. But they're different. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think Sephardic Jews
Ashkenazic Jews.
were probably a little more sophisticated, right?
Than the Ashkenazic Jews.
Yeah.
We believe
Anybody
that all
else?
Jews-
Yes. Up there.
I don't know how, if any of you ever had this. My mother used to buy meat at a kosher butcher, black kosher, then she'd take it home and kosher the meat. She'd soak it,
Salt.
and then drink oil covered in salt,
And give you salt.
and then take some of that salt, back up to the sink and throw it over the shoulder.
Well, there's the story of the woman that went to the butcher and asked how much was liver. And he said, $1.59. And she said, that's very expensive. This guy across the street only charges $1.19. He said, why don't you buy it there? She said, he's all out.
I was out would be the same price.
That's correct. Yes, yes, please.
An explanation I was given why you say Gesundheit or good health when you sneeze is that a doctor told me that this explanation said your soul, when you die, it leaves your body, your last breath goes out with the soul. And therefore, there may be a time if you sneeze really hard, it could be trouble.
It certainly, a really heavy sneeze does feel frightening. By the way, on that subject, in some Caribbean countries, I tried to take pictures, and they wouldn't let me, because they believe that when your photograph is taken, it removes your soul. That's a pretty serious superstition for anybody with a camera. Yes, dear.
Nothing in my life engendered so much hysteria, discussion, dissension as naming my 3 children. Which side of the family, which my family, my husband's family, they were crazy over the life of a tiny little baby. You shouldn't name him Yitzchak. Nothing makes
So
it
how did
hysteria.
you resolve that?
I named them what I wanted, and they didn't like it. They didn't have to come to see the baby.
Once we had our first child, I saw these little chickies eating ketchup, little chickens, and I asked the pediatrician, can I bring some chickens into the baby's bedroom? He said, yes, but keep the grandparents out.
Did you tell us why, when you leave the house, if you forgot something, you go back to get it, you have to sit down and count to 10 before you go out again?
Yeah.
Is that the same one?
Yeah.
Okay.
No one can hear her in the back.
But, well, I can't get them to stand up.
Yeah, but
Anyhow.
You could repeat it.
I could repeat it. She was just asking if that you were something you already heard. Oh, I had something I wanted to add.
The mezuzah. We kiss the mezuzah.
Yes.
That's not a
Going out.
coming in.
Stand up. Tell them why.
It's not a superstition. Luck.
Well, what's in a mezuzah? What's in a mezuzah? In a mezuzah are words from the scripture.
It's not a superstition to kiss the mezuzah.
It's a tradition.
It's a tradition.
Yeah. And it has to, the mezuzah has to be placed at an angle. Why?
So the luck wouldn't run out.
He says because the luck wouldn't run out.
Because
As
the luck would run out?
Would not run out if you put it at an angle.
If you put it
stand
at an
up.
angle,
Well, that makes sense.
Anybody else? Well, there.
One more.
Yes.
Is this woman Ben, is that a superstition? You know, when they pin all the jewelry on a boy, baby boy and all.
When they do what to a baby boy, I hope you don't think what I'm thinking.
Rabbi, we were in Kansas in the Army, and the rabbi was Orthodox. So for my son, he had somebody come and have a pin band, and he pinned all kinds of jewelry on it. They wore my jewelry and everything. I've never seen it before or after.
Alan,
You ransom the boy?
did you hear the lady?
What did she say?
I'm not sure. Does anybody have any response to this lady?
Opinion haben?
Tell them what opinion I've been
It is, the opinion haben is in order to not have the baby go back to God, to keep the baby alive, because it's done with the first child, the firstborn male.
Of a priestly family.
Pardon me?
Only of a priestly family.
Well, it depends. Many Jews do it now. It's in order to, because the firstborn was supposedly a gift to God, and therefore you have the pidyon haben, which is buying the baby back in order to keep the baby alive. Originally, it was done only among the Kohanim, among those who were the priesthood, but many Jews do it now. Many of the Orthodox do it anyway.
When I was an intern in New York City hospitals, one of my fellow interns had terrible luck, and all his patients kept dying. And guess what they called him? The Malach HaMavis.
When I was a kid,
Up, please.
When I was a kid, walking down the street with my great aunt, she got very upset because there was a tree. I walked on one side of the tree, and she walked on the other side of the tree. And she made me go backwards and be on the same side of the tree as she was. Well, good luck.
Yeah, as I think I mentioned earlier, trees were considered godly. For one thing, they and the fish are the only thing that survived the big flood. Which reminds me of a cartoon of two little creatures, one male and one female, standing on the side of a body of water. And in the distance on that body of water is the ark. And one of the creatures says to the other, I told you we were supposed to be here yesterday. Okay. Dr. Bill.
I don't know where maybe the rabbi knows the answer to this. As an intern, I had an Orthodox man who lost a leg in surgery. And the family insisted that the leg be buried. And I had to issue a death certificate for the leg.
He removed the leg, and the family insisted that that leg had to be buried. Yeah.
Sure. Because don't forget, for the Orthodox, there is resurrection of the dead. And therefore the body should be intact in order to be resurrection. That's why the Orthodox do not allow cremation. For the same reason.
Same reason, yeah.
The body has to be intact. Right. If possible, obviously, there are situations where that's not possible.
I say the political aspects, I understood.
And you think about the Holocaust and all those people who, there were no bodies, you know.
When we had our first child, our neighbors who were not Jewish made a shower for the baby before the baby was born or adopted. And some of my Jewish relatives and friends thought that was horrible, that it was superstition, you don't do a shower before the child is born. We had the shower anyway, the child was fine.
Right. We didn't do that.
A shower with baby.
Showers, baby showers, you don't have it before the baby is born. It's a superstition. True.
I had also heard that a Jewish family should not bring anything for a baby into the household before the child is born. I guess if you have a garage separate from the house.
Then the baby would have to be born in the garage.
You did, when you were pregnant, you went to the store, you picked out everything you wanted for the baby, and the store held it. You never left the store. And that was with the clothing, that was with the crib, it was anything and everything pertaining to the baby. Wait until the baby was born.
Stand up and turn around. They can't hear you otherwise. Go now.
So when my husband and I were married and we moved into our first apartment, my grandmother made sure that my mother took her over there so she could leave a glass of water, a bread, and something sweet, possible in the apartment, in the cupboard. So, we would never be hungry, never be thirsty, and we would have a sweetness of life.
Yes, that's very common. Also, there's a little addition to that. It is said if you should bring something sweet like a jar of jam or jelly to the house, because that'll keep the evil busy eating the sweet stuff and be too busy to bother you.
When we were living in Hanover, New Hampshire, we became very friendly with Susanna Heschel, who was the daughter of Abraham Heschel, the great scholar who taught at the Jewish Theological Seminary. And Susanna Heschel was quite traditional in many ways. She was having a baby. And she was almost 50, she was in her late 40s at the time. And we encouraged her to have the baby in the hospital. She refused. She intended to have the baby at home, even though the home was a half hour from the hospital, which we thought was dangerous. She said, "Don't worry, I'm taking care of it." So before the baby was born, she invited us to the home. And this is how she took care of it. Above the bed, there was a chicken, not a live chicken, but a chicken. For the slug and kapporos, for the fast sacrifice, in order to, there was a chicken. All over the room, there were pictures of her ancestors, because the ancestors were going to be protecting the room from any evil. Under the mattress, there was a knife. Why would there be a knife under the mattress?
Stop the pain. To
Exactly.
stop the pain.
To cut the pain.
That's it.
To cut the pain. Right. So she had the baby and everything was fine and all were healthy, so it all worked.
Plus, Rabbi.
She's a Jewish scholar, yes.
Rabbi, plus she had the bed in the room before the baby was born. But it's still a work, you know what I mean? Because not supposed to be anything in there. Except maybe the chicken.
Yeah, then she was a Jewish
Except maybe the chicken.
She is a Jewish scholar, so.
But you know,
You mentioned.
Somebody said, what, you know, who was that?
Weren't you going to say something, Judy?
I was.
Is it? from the balcony.
Both the Chinese and the Egyptians felt that to live a good life after one dies, they should take anything and everything imaginable with them. With the Chinese, they would take a ceramic army as an example. And we were finding out about all the things that the Egyptians took. And of course, if you were poor, you didn't need anything in the afterlife.
That was illustrated in the graves that we went to visit under the Italian erupted. What's the name of that mountain that erupts in yes. And there was a town buried in
Vesuvius.
and underneath that are these graves, and in those graves are buried people. You can't see them, but you could see everything they had was buried with them. We're going to close with Friday the 13th. Why? What's wrong with that? What's the difference between that and some other day? As a matter of fact, in Spanish countries, it's Tuesday the 13th. Because in Spanish, the Spanish word, I think, for Tuesday is something like martes, which is named after the god Mars, who, of course, the god of war. However, the reason explained for the 13th being unlucky is there were 13 people at the Last Supper. And we know what happened to that group, particularly one of them. Judas Iscariot was the 13th. Christ was crucified on a Friday. The 13th of the month, and how they know this, because I didn't know they had months then, but it said that's the day on which Adam and Eve both ate the fruit. And the day Cain killed Abel. Which brings me to the close, but let me say to you, Gay Gazintel Hay. Go in good health. Where does that come from? Thank you.